Okay, so today we are going to be looking at a game. It is called a Dynamo cabinet. So it's a generic cabinet that was made like in the 90s. And this particular one was like made in the 90s. And basically the whole idea behind it was at the time, before this, the different game boards like Pac-Man and whatnot all were very unique as far as what their pinouts were. And when I say their pinouts, it's this here. So this is how the game board gets connected into the arcade system. So then they came out with a system called JAMMA. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, it's kind of blurry. I think the focus, but it's called JAMMA. Just trust me. And with the JAMMA is you could basically take all these different boards. So like here's another board here that was inside this game, and you could basically plug them in and out. And it would basically be able to let the operators change the game. And the only reason why I'm looking at this is because I'm trying to figure out what it is. And I think this one is a Strikers 1945. It was funny because this was like laying inside this game and I didn't know what it was. And hopefully it's still okay. It's just been sitting in here. And then this was a game that I had gotten out of a different cabinet. And it was, you know, some junk cab or whatever. And I told my brother, I was like, hey, dude, let's hook this up and let's see if this actually works and what it is, because I don't even know what it is. Well, the only thing I do know is it's JAMMA, which means we can plug it into this cabinet. I don't know if it's vertical or horizontal because there's two different types. And it's a title game. That's all I know. And the way you can tell like which way to plug this game in is there's a little notch here. It's called a key. And there's a key right here on this connector. And my brother's been using this cabinet because he's been using something called the Bitkit, which is what we're going to kind of look at on this system. But I'm just curious, because this is a JAMMA cabinet, what this game is. And I'm going to let him turn this on because I have no idea how he has it hooked up to turn it on. And we're going to see what the heck this game is and if it even works. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust the camera here, and I may have to adjust the exposure. Okay, so he's going to work on getting it plugged in. I'm going to turn the light off because, of course, we're probably not going to need the light. Okay, so he has the power going. So let's see if... you're okay. You don't need to turn the lights off. And maybe nothing. So maybe this is a bad board. Bad board, or I don't know, maybe a bad board. And I would have to look more into that. I was just kind of curious just to see what the heck it was. Because again, like I said, I know it is JAMMA, so that means you can plug it into this system. And it is a title game, so I don't know. I have to like look it up. But let's switch it off. Is it hooked up to the light switch or no?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah? All right, let's see if it's hooked up to this light switch. That'll make it a lot easier to turn it on and off. So, okay, it's off. So I'm gonna just kind of reseat it. Let's just see. I'm just kind of curious if, I'm not giving up on it yet. I don't know why.
It's done.
Yeah. Hey, it looks like it's making a different picture.
It does. Maybe things need to be reseated, like the ROMs or something.
Hey. And it also looks like,
The lights.
it looks like, what is it? Where's the remote board? Is there a remote board in this one? You know, it looks like it's just a sync issue. Which, if that's the case, nope. Oh, you know what? It might need to be coined up. I didn't even think about it not being on free play. Let's see. How can I coin this up? Can't get to the coin. I wonder if I should just give a quarter.
What's
I
that?
need to coin it up.
Oh, you can get it?
I can't reach the little. So to coin it up on these things, you have to kind of like It's like a little paperclip thing, and you have to like push it down, but sometimes you can't get to it. It's like, it has like a little security thing on it, and it's kind of hard to get to. You able to get to it?
Yeah.
You're coining it up, and it's not.
No, I'm not doing this.
No? Oh well, it was worth a try. Yeah. I don't know, I might have to reset ROMs on that.
Yeah,
That might be to be continued. That'd be kind of cool. It'd be kind of like a free game. If we could get it hooked up. But yeah, so that's a no-no. Just kind of looking at it, I mean, it's super clean. It is really clean. So let's hook up that other one real quick.
Which is this one?
Let's see what it is.
Strikers?
Is it Strikers or is it Raiden Fighters? I have both. So let's hook up this one real quick. So that's the beauty of these games. These games, you can just kind of plug them into the harness, and then, yeah, you can switch it on.
Strikers not done?
Yeah. Please adjust the monitor when these circles are displayed in the oval. Okay, so that's kind of, all right, cool. So this game is, I think it's Strikers. All right, cool. So we do know that the JAMMA harness and all that good stuff is working. So that's Strikers 1945 Part 2. Okay, so that's good to know. I need to put that on my list. But yeah, so that's Strikers, and then we're gonna go ahead and swap this one out.
Okay.
And we'll put the Bitkit in. Maybe we'll show this one at a different time, if we have time. But yeah, it's just a shmup, but it's like super cool. Super neat. All right, so we'll go ahead and swap this out, and then we will get back to you with the Bitkit. Okay, so my brother is pulling that board out. And you see how big these boards are, right? And actually this board here, this one that's not working, look at how big it is. And that's actually a very small board. That's actually not very big. Some of the other boards, look, so that's Strikers for size comparison. And if you look at like Pac-Man and stuff, they're actually a lot bigger than even that. So the one that he's gonna put in is the one in his left hand, and that's called the Bitkit. And basically it's a FPGA board that replaces a lot of old school classic games, and it's super cool. It also has a Bluetooth on it. It has the ability to upload scores, you know, up wirelessly, and you can actually do competitions with friends and stuff. So very much like the arcade one-up stuff, how the new stuff like the new NBA Jam and whatnot is allowing you to do, you know, I guess like competing against each other online. This one's allowing you to do high scores on some of the classic games online. So those little white parts at the bottom, those are called PCB feet. And actually that board, that title board that we tried to put in that doesn't seem to be working, maybe I'll like kind of mess with it and try to get it working. But it has these little white things on here. And these are called PCB feet. And the reason why you put them on there is because if you were to put this on and you were to actually screw it right down into the board, and let's say there's like a staple or something in here, what happens is this is all your traces that actually connects the board together, and actually it'll short out your board. So you want to put these little plastic feet on there to keep it from shorting out. So now that we got the Bitkit in there, we can go ahead and power it back up and just double check and make sure that everything's working okay on the Bitkit. And the Bitkit's also kind of cool because they'll send updates for it. And so some of the games and whatnot will get updated as far as some like new games and whatnot. And so Bitkit seems to be working, everything's good to go. So now the way you finish the game swap is it's the whole, you know, control panel and PCB board is on this tray. And so you adjust the tray and you slide it at like kind of like at a 45-degree angle, and then you slide the tray down into the cabinet, and then what you do is you're going to flip the control panel up, and it has like these latches, and these latches latch onto the control panel, and that's kind of what keeps all the joysticks and all that and all, you know, tied into it. Let's see. So like right now the control panel is going up, you can kind of see the latches there. It's kind of a mess. And the way you latch it is you open up the coin door. and then you have to reach in and just kind of blindly fill around, and it latches, and you can kind of see like you'll see the control panel kind of like lock in. It'll kind of like lock down, and it basically keeps it from moving around. And that's all you got to do. So it's actually pretty easy to change out games, much easier than it was like in the past, like with the original games like Pac-Man and whatnot. Because Pac-Man and all that, it was just not possible. You had to do a lot of stuff in order to go ahead and convert the games out. All right, so now we're going to kind of adjust for this. Try to adjust for this monitor. Then I think what I'm going to do is just, yeah, that looks pretty good. And I'm gonna let my brother go through and kind of like show
You
you.
haven't had a chance to play this much.
Yeah, I know, but I'm gonna let you go through it because I don't really know how to switch games or anything. I'm gonna grab a beverage. So my brother did play. They have like this Bitkit challenge, and you can go ahead and remember it is connected online, so you can submit high scores. So they did this Facebook group where they were doing a competition online, and he actually ended up winning the competition. And what they did is they chose like different games. So it was what games was it? Galaxian. What else?
The Inn.
The End
And another one called Zarzan.
and Zarzan. So it was like 3 different games. So that way, if somebody's good at one specific game, you have to be good at 3 games, or you have to kind of, have kind of like an all-around score. I'm gonna switch off this other light, just to reduce any like little bit of reflection. I don't know if that helps. These games always work better in the dark. So yeah, so you can see he's kind of scrolling through there. This is actually a big game nibbler. They actually did like a little documentary on it called Man vs. Snake. If you're interested in documentaries and old school video game documentaries, check out Man vs. Snake. It's, I have yet to see it. I do have a signed copy of it, but I haven't seen it yet. This is a game called Fantasy, really, really cool game. Pioneer Balloon, even though it says P-Balloon. Vanguard, Zarzan, Eyes, which is cool. Mr. TNT.
That one's cool. That one's cool.
Piranha.
Kind of like a Pac-Man-esque.
Yeah.
Same thing.
The Glob is another. The Glob actually runs off of Pac-Man hardware. And I can't remember the backstory behind it, but it's some kind of, I don't know, people have like converted Pac-Mans into the Globs. Pango. There's multi-boards for Pac-Man where it has Glob and Pango and stuff on there. Anteater's a pretty cool game. It was on the other 100 games on the Ultimate arcade that we covered. Frogger's great. Scramble. Super Cobra. These are all games that are... Jump Bug, I love Jump Bug. Jump Bug's a really glitchy game. It's kind of fun. It's kind of like it's a rhythm game where you really get in there. Turtles. It's not the Ninja Turtles. Armored
cool.
Car.
That one's a fun one.
Tasmania.
That one's kind of like a Robotron game.
Kind of looks like Berserk.
Yeah, it's the joysticks are kind of like Robotron, where like one left moves and the right like shoots in direction.
Twin stick shooter.
Yeah, this one's cool.
Triple Punch, The End. The End is pretty cool. So here's something really interesting. You know that we covered Miss Pac-Man, and I had a 60-in-1 board in there. So something that was kind of interesting is on the game The End, there's this part where it's kind of like this bonus part where it allows the bricks to be brought back down, right, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so on the 60-in-1, it doesn't allow you to have that. So as a result, your high score is a lot less because these little alien guys are trying to spell out, the end or whatever. And there's a stage where it allows you to kind of like reverse some of the stuff that they've done. But on the 60-in-1, on that Miss Pac-Man game that we reviewed, it actually does not have that stage. So as a result, your game ends a little bit sooner because they just, they start spelling out the word and you just end up dying.
Yeah.
Crazy Kong. It's kind of a variation of Donkey Kong that I think it was in Europe that Crazy Kong is from. Scramble Remix. That I haven't seen. That's kind of new.
This is the person who created it, Crafty.
Crafty
Adam,
Mick.
what's his name?
Crafty Mick.
Yeah, he created this game.
Which is kind of cool. So,
So
when
basically, after you go through the game, it goes like backwards or something like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to look at Donkey Kong Jr. Donkey Kong Jr. has a remix board in there. So it's kind of like I had talked about it a little bit where it has a variation. There's Galaxian. We have a Galaxian we'll look at later. Univores. Not too familiar with that one or this one.
Yeah.
Hangly Man. I've seen like bootlegs of that. Like in the ROM list. There's good old Pac-Man. Now here's the other interesting thing. So some of these games are kind of hard to play on this current system. And the reason why is because actually joysticks are actually different, guys. So like this Dynamo cabinet has an 8-way joystick, and games like Pac-Man and Nibbler and some of these other games, they have 4-way joysticks. And what happens is when you try to play them on with these modern joysticks, or if you emulate them in MAME and whatnot, and you're not using the right joystick, what happens is you get a lot of like bad directional input. So instead of going left or something like that, you kind of put in a left up or something like that, and it doesn't really go. So there's a little bit of a error there, like when you're trying to play. So Miss Pac-Man's classic, right? We covered that. Miss Pac-Man Plus. What's a plus? Do you know?
Different maps or something?
Oh, is it different maps?
Different mazes, I mean.
Oh, okay.
And press that.
Has a lot of games.
Yeah.
Junior Pack.
That one's cool because it goes like, it's not the
It
whole
scrolls,
screen.
right?
Yeah, it scrolls. It's pretty sweet. And that's it.
All right, go ahead and play something.
What do you want to play?
Play Nibbler. So Nibbler is kind of cool.
Stuff.
Nibbler is kind of like...
That's another one that's a 4-way.
Yeah, Nibbler was kind of like Snake on your phone. So if you look at it, it's actually loading the actual arcade hardware. Like it's really emulating it.
How's
So
the volume on it? Do you want it?
it doesn't matter, whatever. So when it actually loads the ROM, it actually boots all the different ROM checks and whatnot, so it's kind of cool. So yeah, this game is like, you eat the stuff and you get longer, and it's very much like Snake on your phone. If depending on how old you are, you had like old like Nokia or whatever, and it had Snake. Well, that was actually stolen from Nibbler, which was an arcade game back in the 80s. And it's a simple game, but man, it's fun, especially, it's a big old freaking full-size arcade game, And again, like if you want to see the documentary, definitely check out Man vs. Snake. And it's about him playing the game and whatnot. It's pretty cool. You can see how easy and frustrating it is.
People are really good at this game. Oh, I did 2 players.
Yeah, people play this game for like hours. Yeah, so I think like the world record guy actually has a glove that he plays with, because this game will actually kind of like wear your hand out. And if you ever get into this arcade collecting thing and this becomes a thing for you, these Dynamo cabs, again, they're super versatile as far as like being able to put different games in them. And do keep in mind though, some of these games are vertical and some of these games are horizontal. So a good example of a horizontal JAMMA game would be like Street Fighter. And Street Fighter would be in this kind of very similar cab, but except the monitor would be switched the other way and it would be a landscape. Whereas this one's more like for your Pac-Man, your Galaga, your Nibblers and stuff like that, and it's all like this vertical stuff. Or even some of your shmups like Strikers and Raiden Fighters and stuff like that. So if you don't have like a lot of room and you want to kind of cover your bases as far as getting games that were like really cool and popular like in the late 80s, early 90s, then possibly look at getting a Dynamo cabinet that has one that has a vertical screen and dead, and one that has a vertical and one that has a horizontal. And just with those 2 cabinets, you could pretty much cover the base of pretty much, I would say, like 90% of the games that were out. I mean, there's some other games like shooters and drivers that you won't be able to get, but even the 4-player stuff, there's modifications that they can do where they make it 2-player ROMs, and when they do that, you can take a game like Street Fighter, or I mean not Street Fighter, I'm sorry, like Simpsons or Ninja Turtles, and you can play it on a cabinet like this that only has 2 joysticks. And when you hit start, basically you choose like what turtle or what character you want to be. So it's kind of cool.
That's a cool one there.
So yeah, so that's Nibbler. Let's look at one other game, and then I think that'll be it for this cabinet. This cabinet's pretty cool though, really versatile. I was trying to think when I bought this what it had in it. It had Raiden Fighters, didn't it? I think we got this from that pizza place, right? We got this and we got Dance Dance Revolution together. And I think this had Raiden Fighters in it, which is so funny because when I bought this, I probably paid the same amount that a Raiden Fighters board now is, because the Raiden Fighters stuff has gone up and it's so expensive now. That little board that I showed you probably cost the same price of this whole cabinet. All right, so here's Mr. TNT. And it keeps your scores. Now, the only thing that I don't like about the Bitkit is it does allow you to upload your scores, but you can only tie in one person's profile into the uploaded scores. So, like my brother can upload his scores, but I can't upload mine. So that's like, hopefully, revision 2, they can kind of get that kind of like squared away, where maybe you can have like different profiles or something you can sign into. That would be super cool, because then you could just have one Bitkit running in a system. So like now I'm having to look at trying to get a Bitkit so that way I can go ahead and upload my own scores. So what are you supposed to do on this game?
So all the lines are like, basically, those little things are like fuses that are kind of chasing you around.
Oh, okay.
And you're trying to collect all these like little power like pellet things all around. And the fuses can burn out if like they hit like the end of a line. You'll hear them make like a little noise or whatever. But that's basically it. You're just trying to avoid them. You can also kill yourself. There went one fuse burned out, so now there's only three guys going around, and you're trying to get them all.
Is it hard to play with this joystick?
A little bit, yeah.
See, you can kind of see there's like a little bit of a...
Especially because there's a lot of like small movements, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of like Nibbler as well. These are both Rockola games too. Ah, see, I missed that one. See, but that fuse burned out. I went another fuse. They got 2 more things left. They can also like destroy the things that you're trying to get, which are like bonus points.
Gotcha.
That's the other sound that I think you heard just a second ago.
Try to adjust the exposure a little bit on it, because this game's a little bit brighter than some of the other games. Some of the other games are a little bit darker. And those rolling lines that you can see, that has to do with the frequency refresh of the monitor and the camera. So you'll kind of see like a line kind of scrolling. That's how you can always tell it's a real CRT, right? Because you'll see those lines scrolling depending on the frame rate and whatnot. But in person, it looks great. There's no black lines. And actually, these games look great on these old monitors. They don't look so great on the new LCD stuff or the LED. They look real pixelated, just the way the interlacing works. All right, so what do you guys think of this game? Again, this is probably one of the ones that I would recommend you getting as a Dynamo cabinet. You can see how versatile it is as far as like the different games that you can swap in and out. Really, really cool setup, really, really cool system. And again, like this is a new board system that came out just recently, this Bitkit or whatever. This is a cool game, by the way. This is pretty new that, you know, it just...
Such a weird game.
That great 80s speech.
This game is so weird. This is such a weird.
So we played in a tournament last October, and this game was in there. It's pretty cool. All these games are real simple, but I mean, you get the idea, and then they're like really difficult to master. But pretty cool stuff. But yeah, so like if you are thinking about getting into this arcade thing and you do have limited space, limited funds, excuse me, this is definitely one of those systems to go ahead and get. Remember, it's called a Dynamo cabinet, and it's Dynamo. And they made a whole bunch of different video games in these systems, everything from like Area 51s to you know, Street Fighter to Strikers. You know, it's just every single game you can think of that was like in the 90s probably got put into one of these types of cabinets. And these are pretty common, these cabinets, so they're pretty easy to look for if you're looking at trying to like get into this. And it's definitely a very, very nice way to play some retro arcade games. Big old nice crispy 25-inch monitor, definitely the way to go. All right, so until then, let me know what you think, and I will see you on the next video.